Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello ma'am, my name is Moizatul Fitra with ID number A121220204. Now I would like to explain and answer your questions. So here's the explanation. Alright, for the first example, they were soundless and they were silent, and then last they were noiseless. So if something is soundless, it means no sounds is present, which implies that it's also silence and noiseless. And if something is silent, it means it's free from noise, and which also implies that it's soundless and noiseless. And for the last, if something is noiseless, it means there is no noise, which also implies that is soundless and silence. So this example that soundless, silence, and noiseless all convey the idea of the absence of sounds, which make the synonyms. In my opinion, awake and asleep are complementary because you can only be in one state at the time. If you're awake, you're not asleep, and if you're asleep, you're not awake. And there is no in between in their strict meanings. And however, words like half awake, half asleep, and dozy describe states between being fully awake and fully asleep. And half awake and half asleep mean you're not completely in one state. Maybe you're very asleep but not fully asleep. And dozy means you're drowsy and almost falling asleep, but still somewhat aware. So even though awake and asleep are technically opposites with no middle ground. And I think in real life there are stages in between. For the number 3, the word quiet has two different meanings depending on the type of adjective it modifies. And if the adjective can have different levels like clever or smile, and quiet means moderately. For example, quite clever means fairly clever. And if the adjective describes a complete state like right or finished, it's quite means completely. For example, quite right means totally right. So quite means a little with adjective that describe degrees, but fully with adjective that describe obsolete states. Roget's thesaurus is organized by concept rather than individual words. It groups words into categories based on the general idea, which helps users see connections between related meanings and their opposites. For example, under the concept of happiness, you might find synonyms like joy and contentment, and antonyms like sadness and misery. On the other hand, synonyms dictionary are arranged alphabetically and focus on individual words rather than the broader concept, and they provide a list of synonyms and sometimes antonyms for each word, and making them useful for quickly finding alternative words with similar meanings, while Roget's thesaurus helps understand the relationship between ideas. Synonym dictionaries are more practical for word choice and improving vocabulary. A question is a bias if it's assumed that the adjective already applies to the subject, like influencing the answer. For example, asking how old is X and is neutral because age is factual measure, but how young is X can be biased because it assumes that subject is young. And adjectives that carry positive or negative judgment, like miserable and pleasant, or unpredictable and tasty, create biased questions since they imply that the speakers believe that subject already has the quality. Similarly asking how weak is X or how strong is X, and can also be biased because they suggest that the subject possesses some degree of weakness or strength. Therefore, adjectives with inherent judgment or subjective interpretations are more likely to produce biased questions. So I think that's all from me to answer questions according to the book that ma'am give. So I'm so sorry if I have mistake when explain and pronounce my answers. So I end by saying Alhamdulillahirobbilalamin. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.